Hey Heather, did you hear? Gatorade now sells just plain old water. I mean, why not? Electrolytes are a little much.
What will they think of next? Do you ever have those days, Sarah, where you're stuck in a one time verification code loop? In terms of loops, I prefer the fruity kind.
Oh, yeah, been there. When life gives me lemons, I usually head to the beach. Except the last time I went, my dog ate too much seaweed, and you know how this story's going to end. So I'm just going to take the lemons. Thank you.
Listen up, all you flying rocks out there trying to kill me. I kick you.
Kick 'em. Have such a good day. Hello, world. Welcome back to Have Such a Good Day, the show that wants you to do
just that. Episode 206. It was funny, Sarah, earlier I had 2066 and I was like, wait, no, that's a typo. We don't have 2066 episodes. Maybe one of these days.
I mean, if we're lucky, yeah. I'd love to get to 2066. But yeah, that's a lot.
20666. Ooh, now that is a number. Welcome to the show, y'all.
We're gonna get to 666.
The show that
before that.
unpacks the absurdity of everyday life. You gotta laugh so you don't cry, Sarah.
Yep, it's
Really,
absurd.
how is everyone doing out there today?
Yeah, how y'all doing out there? I'm gonna say right off the top, Heather and I are punchy AF.
Yeah, we're
now.
punchy, and I'm also nasally and punchy. It's a double whammy. I woke up on a sneezing bender this morning. Sometimes those histamines just
Yeah.
they kind of build up. So I had forgotten that nasal spray really helps. Did my nasal spray, but now I'm nasally. So there you have it. Hopefully, I won't sound too bad.
Well, I think you sound just great, and I'm
Well,
sorry
thanks,
about the
Lane.
nasal issues.
It happens.
It does.
Like the cruel ironies of life.
The cruel ironies of life. I'm sure I've complained about this before because I'm great at complaining. But when I was younger, I had terrible hay fever. Meaning just sneezy stuff. It was seasonal, but I don't even really know what I was allergic to. Like, we never really got to the bottom of it. But
It's kind of hard to get to the bottom of it, honestly.
yeah,
It takes a lot
well,
of effort.
or you get an answer like, "Oh, it's pollen," and you go,
And you're like,
"Oh, okay,
"Great."
well, I have to live, so I guess I'll just sneeze." But it used to be pretty debilitating. I mean,
Oh, it is.
I remember being in
100%.
high school and going to the nurse's office and being like, "It won't stop. I have to go home."
See, I would have rather suffered with it as a kid, I think, because I think what a lot of allergists say is you either have it as a kid and then you grow out of it,
Yeah.
or you don't have it as a kid and then you get it later in life.
Right.
Man,
It's
brutal.
older
Totally
you
brutal.
get, the harder things are. I agree with you.
This is true. And everything as you get older feels very dated. I went to a car dealership yesterday to bring my car in, and they showed me the new electric model. He really wanted me to take a test drive, but I didn't have time. He just showed me the interior. And boy, I was like pretty blown away by how not old my car is. It's from 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And I stepped inside the driver's seat of this new electric version of my car, and I could not believe how different it felt. It was like my car feels analog. Like it doesn't even feel from 2019. It's like things have come so far in the last couple years that my 2019 car feels really dated. It has too many buttons. There's just like button, button, button. And then in this new car, there's 0 buttons. Everything's a touch
Well, but
screen.
people complain about that too. I mean, there are a lot of people who are on the "give me a button" camp.
I like buttons.
Like, I'm sick of this
Don't get rid of
touchscreen
buttons.
nonsense. I will say, I have a Volvo, so I mean nothing crazy, but also 2019. You know, when I got the car, it was new, so it's really not old at this point. But it has a large touchscreen in the middle. I mean, that's pretty standard on
Yeah.
a variety
Yeah.
of cars now. But I cannot. I mean, it's designed to be touched. I cannot
Yeah.
ever stop looking at the smudges on the touchscreen.
I know.
I mean, I wipe it. You wipe it down
Nothing's
3 times a
perfect.
day. It's like it's always dirty. It's
Or
just.
there's dust.
It's never gonna not be dirty.
Never, ever. And the thing is, too, I felt like such an old person yesterday because I was kind of like commenting on this, situation where I'm like, my car seems really old. And in this new car, there was no stick, like not a stick shift. Obviously, a lot of cars are automatic these days. It's hard to find a stick shift, but it actually still has like a shifter that you put your hand around, and
Yeah,
you know
put
you
it in
shifting the
drive, put it in
gears.
reverse.
It's
Yeah.
now it's they call it something I can't remember, but it's some kind of button of some kind, and there's nothing to hold. I like to hold on to something when I drive. All right. Like take some corners. I like to kind of lean into it, hold on to that paddle. Well, there's no paddles anymore, y'all. It's now a lever of some, it's a very small lever, and it's not very satisfying
Oh,
switching gears anymore.
the future's bleak, Heather.
It's so
What's
bleak.
next?
What is there to look forward to, Sarah?
Right.
I
We just
still miss
we
stick
can't get
shifts
in
to
a
this
car and
day.
have buttons and shifting. Yeah,
I like a good
I always
button.
remember the
I got a light lamp.
this happened by accident because I had gotten into an accident, which was my own fault, with my last Honda Civic. I had a string of Civics.
You
That
did.
was my jam.
That got broken into in San Francisco, I feel like a
Hundreds
lot.
of times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my last Civic, I got into an accident. Nobody was hurt, but it was that was the end. And then I got a Saab that I had.
I
I don't even
remember
know why
that.
I got. I mean, it was used. It was old. It wasn't like some fancy thing at all. But it was
Yeah.
an automatic, and I'd never had an automatic car before. I had driven plenty of them. Like I know how to. It's easier, but I was just so used to it that for like a month I was like, "Can I do this? I'm so bored."
I know. It takes some getting used to.
And now I'm
I
like,
don't
"What
like
the
everything
hell
being
did I
automatic to
want?
me.
Like my right arm to never be free for? Like it's crazy." We adapt.
We
That's
do.
what
We
we
do
do.
adapt. And exactly. And I think that down the road, when I'm going to be getting a new car at some point down the road, further, way further down the road, I will get used to that button or whatever you want to call it, that shifts the gears, and I won't even think about it. But I don't want to get used to it. I don't want everything to change all the time. So, and I'm into change. I like evolution, but there's certain things that I don't know. I feel like maybe this is a reflection of our age. We're starting to get kind of testy
It is.
about this kind of
Yeah.
thing.
No, it's not a
Anyway.
question. We're becoming those people where we're like,
Great.
remember when things were easier?
We're going to start getting those emails where it's like a long scroll of remember when you were young and these things existed? My
I
dad used to
know.
forward those to me all the time, and we're going to be those people,
I mean,
but
just
it's going to be sexy.
not even an hour ago when I was finishing up DTNFs with the crew today, we were talking about bookstores.
Mhm.
And, somebody was like, Barnes and Noble, is that even still like a retail place? I'm like, there actually is one not that far away
Yeah.
from me. And it's kind of like it for the, where I am now, it's like not like a huge city. And
Uh-huh.
it was always sort of like a overly large store. It used to be something else. It was like some department store way back in the day.
Yeah.
Some multi-level stuff. It's still around. But we were talking about books, and Scott Johnson, who's our regular Wednesday person, said it so perfectly. He was like, the last time I walked in a bookstore, I like felt my cell phone in my pants pocket and was like, this entire store could just be on my phone.
Yeah,
But I'm so
totally.
glad that the store is here.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that retail has suffered many blows due to technology, and the
Yeah.
evolution of fewer buttons. But that was a good way to put it, where I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, we just all have to kind of make choices about what,
We may revert back. I know
yeah,
it's funny because you think about people who, the streaming stuff and then like the analog, like DVDs and how people collect and whatever, but we keep coming full circle. We went back to vinyl. We like went away from it. Now we went back to it. So I just wonder, I mean, I love a good bookstore, but I don't go to them often enough because there aren't enough of them, I guess.
right, yeah.
Maybe I don't have time. I don't know, but that is a good way of putting it. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Lots to be excited
Yeah,
about.
the whole kind of like saving space thing
Yeah. Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
in many ways very important. And we've
Uh-huh.
all benefited from that.
Uh-huh.
But there are certain, yeah, I mean, the bookstore is a good example. You might be like, I don't really care about books, all that, like Dead Tree Books,
Mm.
which is fine. I mean, you have so many options now, but there are examples I can think of where I'm like, I don't want this to go away. I don't care that
No,
it's
I love
archaic.
perusing a bookstore and like looking at the covers and like just I love all the covers. They soothe
Yeah,
me.
there's a
A bookstore
tactile
soothes me.
whole thing going on, you know? You
100%.
just you just don't get that in the modern world. So
You
F
really
you
don't, Sarah Lane.
2023. F you to heck.
Oh, how's it going otherwise, Sarah Lane?
It's all right. It's all right. I'm kind of running on fumes. It's been a I think you and I both agreed at the end of August like, wow, that was kind of a long month. Like
Yeah.
it just limped along. And now
Yep.
here we are halfway through September and
Yep.
I blinked and we were halfway through like I don't
I know.
you
Now
know,
I'm
and
thinking about Christmas. It's like, no, I
totally.
hate this time of year.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. A friend of mine invited me to a bunch of friends of mine are getting together for kind of an annual thing that we've all done. Sometimes I participate, sometimes I don't, in New York City over the past few years in
nice.
October. And, was there last year and they, bunch of people getting together and, looking at flights. And I was like, I kind of saw like it was like a paperless post invite kind of thing that,
Yeah.
got sent to my email. And I was like, yeah, it's like far away. I'll like think about it later. And then I
Yeah.
thought about it yesterday and I'm like, no, that's less than a month away.
Yeah.
If I were to go, I need
Definitely.
to like buy a flight right now.
Hmm.
I don't think I'm going to go. It's very
What is it?
expensive.
Early October?
It's mid October.
Yeah.
Meh,
Yeah.
mid October. But anyway,
Yeah. It's a tough
so
one. Travel plans.
so yeah. So besides that, I don't really have anything to complain about. I think life has just been handing me a lot of lemons lately, and maybe
And
I've
what do
been
you do with
juggling
lemons,
them
Sarah? You go
myself.
to the beach.
Go to the beach, and then your dog gets diarrhea all over the house. Yay! Oh my
Yay.
gosh, I will not go into that, but I want you to think of the worst situation you could ever wake up to, and that's what it was. Okay?
I
That's
heard a
just where we're
little bit
gonna
of
leave it.
detail on this, and I will assure y'all out there that it was pretty bad.
It was pretty
It was pretty
bad.
bad.
It was
I
pretty
didn't see
bad.
pictures, but
I think
she
my
painted
mom took a
a scary
photo,
picture.
which was I
She
was like, "Why
did.
did you take a picture of this?" And she was like, "I don't know. I don't like
Has she
posterity."
forgiven Oat?
Yeah, no. I mean, he didn't do it on purpose.
Of
But
course.
I totally unrelated. I've been thinking about hair lately, Heather.
Yeah.
The hair on my head,
Uh-huh.
specifically.
Uh-huh.
And well, I don't know. I mean, hair in general, I guess, but the hair on my head. So when my chemotherapy wrapped up in early Feb, I had already started to like sprout back a little bit of hair that I had lost
Yeah.
a few months prior. And I never had like, well, first of all, I did a thing called the cold cap. I won't go like into the cancer stuff. We talked about it before, but that's designed to help people save their hair. Because otherwise, you're kind of going to lose all of it. And, that's why people shave their head.
Mhm.
And it was pretty successful, honestly. I would recommend it to anybody who says, I don't want to be in the situation where I have to shave my head or just have no hair in general. But
Mhm.
my hair still thinned a lot. I didn't have any real patch where you could go, ooh, gosh, yeah, no hair. It just was as if I had 50% less hair seemingly overnight. It wasn't
Yeah.
really overnight, but I mean, it was pretty dramatic. Even
Mhm.
though I do feel like I took the steps that I thought I should take, and I think it was overly successful. But because of the thinning, all that hair that kind of went away has grown back, and it's at a completely different length and consistency than
Mhm.
my normal hair. Like I have very straight hair. I always
Yeah.
have. There's not a curl in the world to be had with my hair, even if I
Uh-huh.
try. Now, some of my regrowth is just sort of short. So you go, well, you blend it in. I don't know. Ponytail, you're good to go. But I've
Uh-huh.
got this funny kind of the nape of my neck area that is has come back and it's curly. And I don't know what to do. Like I've never had curly hair before, and I know people with curly hair will say, well, join the club.
Uh-huh.
Taming the curls is a lifelong cross to bear.
Getting a blowout or like a straight
All of that
iron, flat
stuff.
iron, that is.
Right. And I only have, it's only in like these certain kind of funny parts, like in the underneath area, but
Uh-huh.
it's curly. Even the last time I got a haircut, the hairdresser was like, do you want to just like cut the longer part so it's all even? And I was like, no, because then I would have really short hair.
Yeah.
And I have like weird PTSD about having short hair because my mom made me cut my hair once when I was young after I had lice, which is a story for another time. But I just don't feel like I look good with short hair. Lots of people
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
just don't think that I do.
I've never seen you with short hair, so it's hard for me to
No,
say.
I
You've
mean,
always been a
even,
long hair gal.
yeah, long hair. Even I did sort of like a A-line bob thing. It was all the
Yeah,
rage
that's
some
true.
time
Yeah.
ago. And I remember, this is not to throw anybody under the bus, although he deserves it. My boyfriend at the time, I remember like he knew I was like getting a haircut, but I sort of like surprised him and came home and was like, and it was all real nice. The hairdresser had styled it just so. So it looked just like the photo that I had come in to the salon with. And he was like, "Ah, yeah." And I was like,
He
"Do you
didn't
like
like
it?"
it.
And he was like, "That's cool." And I,
I feel like dudes don't love short hair. I don't know.
well, I
I mean, it's
think
a generalization, but
totally depends on, yeah, face shape, everything.
it does. It
Depends on the
does.
dude, depends on everything. But I I remember being like, not totally the reaction I was looking for. I was hoping he'd be like, "Wow, what a change. Very cool." I don't know what I was expecting. But he was like,
Expectations always get you down.
yeah, and he very dismissive, almost as if nothing had changed. And finally I remember saying to him, well, okay, so what do you like better? Do you like it how it was before, or do you like
Uh-huh.
it better now? And he was like, "Oh, I like it to better before." And I
Like,
was like,
there's my answer.
yeah, that's just a little bit more sort of like somehow I just look bad with shorter hair." Anyway, fast forward to today, we're getting to the point, Heather, where I have a haircut, every 8 weeks type thing, in a couple weeks, and I'm gonna bring in some photos. We're not talking like crazy pixie cut type thing. But I think I
Oh,
might I might do like a French bob, like above the chin type thing.
cute. I
Kind of
love it.
cute, kind of cute, because that will at least get all of like the old and new hair at least to where like we're all
Totally.
talking the same language type thing.
Yes. And you can put it in a little pony, like a tiny little, like cute little,
Yeah,
because
or
I've
more
done shorter hair
barrettes,
more often
stuff
than
I
you.
just never do.
Yeah. You could do scarves, that kind of thing.
Indeed, which I well, I those are in my storage unit somewhere, Heather. But yes,
Uh-oh. Well,
they're-
there'll be a lovely gift. It'll be like a re-gift when you open up that storage unit again. You'll be like, I remember these.
oh, I know because they're really nice. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of a why not? Why the hell not
I
kind of
think why
thing.
not? You know, hair grows. You have said before, you're kind of like a chia pet. Like your hair just grows and grows and grows pretty fast,
It does, yeah.
and it'll just grow back. You might as
It'll
well
grow
try it.
back.
If you don't, you'll never know. And then maybe you need a reminder of what it's like to have short hair again. And you might enjoy it this time around just because
Well,
you didn't back
yeah.
then.
And I think that I know. I mean, this is like second grade when I had lice. Everybody, like, I didn't have lice like when I was 25 years old or anything. My mom didn't force me to cut my hair, but I did. Yeah, I kind of think like, what is the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Because right now I'm somewhat clean onto the old hair, and some of the old hair is. I mean, when I say old hair, it just means the longer part of my hairs.
Uh,
And that's fine, but it looks weird because
yeah.
about half of it is like still chia pet sprouty. So,
It might be good to
we might just
start.
trim it up and see what's up.
I would say trim it up, a blank canvas, man. Just start over. Yeah, I think your hair will be happy, to get a new beginning.
Same thing. And by the way, for anybody who's like curly hair, chemo, what? This is really common. In fact,
Oh,
if you want to go down the rabbit hole of chemo curls, as we in the
interesting. I didn't
biz
know
call
that.
it, there's all sorts of like, here's how to style your crazy chemo curls. Now, most
Wow.
people, we're starting with, shaved head, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the curls are all just truly chia pet, coming out at all angles. Like, here's how we deal with that, or here's how you kind of like cut your hair for the next year so that it kind of grows out to
Uh-huh.
be eventually not short hair anymore, or you keep it short. And so many people look so cute with that hair.
Mhm.
I'm just, I'm not, I'm not one of those
You're
curly
not that
short hair
gal.
people. I just look, I feel like I look like a little fat elf. You know?
Speaking of chia pets, I don't know if I told you this, but we stumbled upon a garage sale a while back, and Elijah found a box of retro chia pet heads that they were selling.
What does
And it was like
retro chia pet head
they're
even
like the
mean?
old school, like way back when chia pets.
Like stuff you would
Like
see like on infomercials, like really late
yeah,
at night.
like stuff that you could buy on you would buy on eBay for like hundreds of dollars because they're like collectibles. And he put one in our sunroom, like up on our like succulent rack, and tried to be sneaky about it. And it's this creepy head. I'll send you a picture. It's pretty funny.
Is
I
the
think you'll get a
head like
chuckle
a
out of it.
famous person? Because I know that was a thing that people would give each
Yes,
other as sort of gag gifts for some
it
time. Is
is.
like,
And I'm actually trying to
here's
remember heads. Wait, I got to Google this because I don't remember yeah, it's like Bob Ross or, oh no, I know what it is. It's the original head. And it's of
oh,
what is it? It's the original head,
I actually don't
totally
know who the
vintage.
original head was modeled after.
It was I don't know if it's I might have to get back to you on that.
It's all right. It's not
I can
super
picture it. I
pressing.
just it's not. Well, Sarah, you know what's super
I mean,
pressing?
I'll
I have
never
to tell
forgive
you.
you, but yeah, we can circle back on this one.
I'll report back.
Mm.
But Sarah, I always like to hear your adventures in hair, and the curly thing is something I learned something new today. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Speaking of hair and other fashion related things, do you remember that cool blog you and I used to love called Go Fug Yourself?
Oh
And it was
yeah,
always kind of making fun, being
it was
snarky
making
about red carpet
fun.
looks.
It
It
was
was,
making
but it was
fun.
hilarious. I mean, seriously, like laugh out loud, hilarious. And now those ladies who wrote that blog,
Mm.
they do a Substack called Drinks with Broads that I read. It's
Oh,
very
I didn't
funny.
know. I
Very funny. I'll forward it to you.
Oh,
That they
please
just
do.
did one on the VMAs. It's very, very funny. And they there's a line from there that's just
Well,
basically
they would
like my
have lots
favorite
of
line of the
material
week.
from the pictures I saw. My God,
Oh,
what are people
so much
wearing?
material. Yeah, no, crazy, crazy. Like it's a really good post, very rich, and they at the top of the article actually was kind of a like what is going on here? Like there's so much weird shit going on. And they said they used, and I quote, the world is a rich tapestry of WTF, of what the fuck. And I thought that was very, very funny because it's kind of my current vibes right now is like everything feels very WTF. Everything that I'm like working on and doing and just things I'm confronting. It's very like spiral eyeballs emoji, just like,
Spiral emoji. I know the
you know what I'm
one.
talking about? You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a combination, I think, of like life, overwhelm. Yeah.
Yeah, before we started, I said, well, once we started the show, I said, "Oh, we're punchy today," but like I've said that to a couple people today like I am punchy.
And what you mean is a spiral eyeball emoji. That's
Kind
what you
of, yeah,
mean,
like
right?
it's like
Yeah.
I'm hanging on. I'm awake, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen
You
next.
shouldn't operate a
I should
motorized
probably
vehicle.
not operate heavy machinery.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly,
so I'll just go
exactly.
ahead and not do the tractor thing I was going to do
I
later
think
today.
it's I can't even imagine you in a tractor. But so it's funny because usually I can kind of tell what's going on in my life by like what emojis I use. And the spiral eyeballs emoji has definitely been front and center lately. I'd like to know if y'all have one that you're using a lot lately. Email us at hi@fsuchagoodday.com. But I will say I'm not going to get into the weeds about all the WTF things that are going on because it's just kind of from every angle. And I think you have weeks like this. It's like maybe the universe is just in a weird place. Maybe it's just typical life overwhelm and exhaustion. It happens. I've got my hands on a lot of things, and there's just a lot of just like what, like why would you say that or do that, or like just not really understanding why things are happening in a certain way, or just you know for example, I mentioned a while back, before my trip I got a ghost rock hit my windshield. I had to have
Yeah.
my friend fix it while I was gone so that I could actually drive my car 4 hours home. Within a week or so of my new windshield, my fancy new windshield that cost me $1,000 deductible, um,
Gotta love it.
got hit again with a rock. And I remember hearing something, but didn't, and kind of looked and was like, oh my God, I hope that did not crack my window. And looked around. I didn't see anything. I didn't see like you have those little like sort of divots that happen and then they turn into these cracks. Anyway, later the following week, there was a bird shit on the crack, so I couldn't see the crack itself because the bird shit was covering it. But there is indeed a crack. Yesterday, after a slew of WTF moments that I was experiencing, I had to pick up my car from the dealership. It was just getting an oil change, whatever. And I leave, and I'm like 3 or 4 blocks away, heading home, and all of a sudden this crazy loud sound, and like people are honking at me and my car is making the craziest sound. I was like, "Oh my god, am I going to blow up?" Like it was so loud and so like shocking, I didn't know what to do. But
Why
I
were
was like a
people
couple
honking at you?
I don't know. I feel like maybe they were trying to tell me something, but I heard it myself. I didn't need to
Ugh.
be reminded. But like,
Yeah, yeah.
so I made it back to the dealership. It was probably not that safe to do that. I didn't know what it was. So anyway, I go home. I take the loaner car. It was a whole thing. It was kind of annoying. Uh, Come to find out, it was a rock stuck somewhere somehow under, like near my brake pad. There's like some kind of section under there where things can get stuck. And there was construction on the road, like when I was, that first road that I was coming down, like a few blocks. So I probably picked it up there. And I think that's where those ghost rocks came from. In summertime, there's all these construction projects and there's like loose rocks and gravel and whatnot. But I'm like, what is up with all these friggin' rocks? And this is like the third rock in 2 months, yo. So being the superstitious person that I am, first of all, I'm like, most likely this is just from constructions. This happens, shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, dude, clean up all those loose rocks, Caltrans. Like, I feel like I heard someone say, you got to call Caltrans and let them know. And, they might, help you, I don't know, pay for a deductible or something. I'm like, yeah, right. But then the superstitious side of me started to wonder. And I Googled it because I was like, what is up with these flying rocks? Is there some meaning behind it? Not that I was looking for, I'm not so deeply spiritual that I'm going to say, I'm going to really believe what I read on the internet about the symbolism of a rock. Like it just happens, right? But I thought it was interesting. I Google it, and the first thing that came up was, if you see a crack in your windshield, it means that someone has put a curse on you. The person who did this is trying to harm you in some way. And it's really funny because I love the movie Drag Me to Hell. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a Sam Raimi movie. I rewatched it the other
Heather, do you
day.
think I've seen a movie called Drag
No,
Me to
but
Hell?
y'all out there who've seen it know what I mean. It's
I
basically,
know that people like this movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. It's basically a young girl. She works at a bank. She kind of has like a bit of a boring day job that she's not super happy. She wants to get promoted and everything.
Mm.
And she denies this old woman, this kind of creepy old woman, a loan for her house. And so this woman steals one of her buttons from her jacket and puts a gypsy curse on her. And it's great. It's kind of comical at the same time because it's just like so over the top because it's Sam Raimi and he's very over the top. But of course, I don't think someone put a curse on me. So I'm easing up on this superstition here. Life is unpredictable. I know this. But really, what do rocks represent? And so I went further down the rabbit hole and I read something that said, in our everyday life, rocks represent struggles to overcome and perspectives to be gained. Many myths, fables, and stories use rocks to symbolize the obstacles a character must overcome to complete their quest. And I found that to be so apropos, Sarah, because
Mm.
of exactly what I'm doing right now in my life with the business in this stage of my life. And this is why I look these things up. Not to fall down a rabbit hole and really believe the spiritual, like mumbo jumbo, but that gives me something to think about. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't really matter. I'll never know, but it actually makes me think, maybe, maybe there's a lot going on that I need to pay attention to or something. Um,
Mother Earth is mad at you, Heather.
I don't know, I
Do
guess,
better. No, I
but
don't. I
but
mean,
I
I don't really believe
maybe
that,
it's
but
reminding me to just kick rocks. It's like a polite way of telling to get something to like fuck off, and whatever that is, like maybe I need to sell some properties to get these monkeys off my back, or maybe I need to fire someone. I don't know. But yeah, it was sort of an interesting experiment to read up on this and the symbolism. So hear this, rocks. I kick you. Bye bye.
kick rocks is one of my favorite terms.
I know
I
it
feel
is.
like
I know.
it's,
I know you like
yeah, I
it.
don't know. I'm thinking of Cardi B right now, but she certainly is not a person who coined this term. Pound sand, also one
Oh,
of
I've
one
not
of
heard
my
that one.
favorites. Yeah, go pound sand. Same thing. Basically, just like go do something other than being in my face right now. Um, what? This reminds me of, these just colloquialisms. This
Hmm.
reminds me of when I was in, like, I'm not even kidding, like fifth grade,
Uh-huh.
maybe sixth grade, but like young enough that kids were starting to like each other,
Hmm.
but you weren't really going through puberty yet. So you kind of like don't know what to do with these feelings. Like, oh, I liked a boy in my class, but like then what happens? Nothing. You just like go to school. Um, but a friend of mine, names will be redacted in the story. She and this, other boy that were, also, I think we're all in the same class, or, we're definitely at the same rather small school. And they like decided that they were like boyfriend, girlfriend for like a week.
Hmm.
And something happened. I don't remember what, but she, was, like came into, the school bathroom, just could not stop crying. I mean, she was hysterical, and of course, everyone's like, what happened with you know who? And she says, he told me to go piss up a flagpole. And I remember like being like, don't laugh because it's not funny. But like that
Wow.
is funny. Like how is that the insult that you hurl at somebody when you're like, I don't want to be
I don't think I've
dating you
ever heard
anymore,
that
you other
expression.
11-year-old. Go piss up a flagpole. No, no, no. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's one of my favorites because it's so specific. And it's like, I want you to do that more than I want you to be in my face right now.
And it's hard to imagine, like, because it gravity, you can't do that. So it's kind of this
Well,
visual
that's the point. Is
conundrum.
like
It's like, yeah,
go do something so far away from me that it doesn't even make sense.
yeah, it's a good one. You
It's a
should bring
good
it back,
one.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
next time somebody makes you mad, y'all out there, you tell them to go piss up a flagpole, and
And then
they'll
go
either
kick
get
some
it or they
rocks.
won't, and it's their loss if they don't.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, y'all, kicking the rocks, man. So many
Kick,
rocks.
kicking rocks.
Whew.
Well, earlier this week, Heather, I know that you and I both we are Apple product people. We both have iPhones and
Yep.
MacBooks and, et cetera, et cetera, Apple Watches.
Hmm.
So Apple had, a little announcement, not a big deal, about new iPhones earlier this week. iPhone 15 was announced, variety of models, new Apple Watch as well as some other stuff. And I have to say, this is something that I cover for my job. I've been
Hmm.
doing this for 25 years. But I over the and because of that, I get a lot of people who will ping me and be like, what should I do, what should I buy, or you gonna get this, is this cool, oh, what about this feature, and I do my best to respond to everybody that I think would benefit from my vast knowledge of Apple. But I mean, I'm not buying anything this year. And it's not because I don't like what Apple had put out. It's
Uh-huh.
because my iPhone 13 is fine. In fact, it feels like kind of new to me. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
year and a half old at this point, but there's nothing wrong with it. So like,
Hmm.
I don't like, why do I want another phone? But there was a time where every year I got another phone
Yeah.
because that's what you did.
Because it was
And
kind of fun. It was like
of
something, a new
course,
little
yeah, it's
toy,
exciting.
and
Also,
yeah.
I mean, I also like used to like host shows about iOS specifically, so it was like kind of a write off. But yeah, I'm like, people are like, "Ooh, you're gonna get the 15 Pro Max," and I'm like, "No." I mean, my 13 is like kind of new still. I haven't even
Yeah.
broken it yet. So
I think we have the same
yeah,
phone. I believe I have a 14, or sorry, 13. But I have the bigger one, which I think you do
Pro
too.
Max, yeah, you
That
do.
Yeah, Pro Max. That's the one gripe I have about this phone is I'm constantly dropping it, and it just lands like a brick. It's big. I think I would probably go with a smaller model next time. Not going to buy one. I'm not going to buy a 14 now. I'm definitely fine with it. But I think next time I buy a phone, it'll be smaller.
Yeah, 15. 15's the new one.
Oh, the 15. Yes, obviously.
Yeah, a friend of mine, we were, like chatting on Slack about this earlier, and she was like, "Well, but when you have really little hands, like you can't even handle a Pro Max." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I have one. I've had the largest iPhone that has been
You always have a
available
large iPhone.
since
Yeah.
the iPhone 10X, which was, oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, we're going on 10 years ago, if not a
Hmm.
little
Hmm.
before.
Yep.
I also don't use my phone that much. I use it when I need to use it. It's my small computer that, in a pinch, I love it so much, wouldn't trade it for the world. But I mean, at home, like hanging out, I don't like look at my phone.
Really?
No, I'm either just like I'm off the
You're on the
internet or
computer.
I'm on
Oh,
my laptop because it's like more screen real estate and more
yeah.
things. Like it just
Yeah.
works better for me.
Yeah. I
So
hear
yeah,
you. Interesting. Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like I do a lot of stuff on my phone. I mean, I do all my games. I
You
do
do
a lot
Wordle
of
on your phone, which I've
emails.
never thought to do.
Yeah. No, I've never thought to do it on the desktop. It's
Well,
so
I know because when we
funny. It's
things for each
different.
other,
Yeah.
like our screenshots are wildly different. Like mine's like so big and like
Yeah.
old lady, which just sort of like feeds back into our earlier conversation that like, yes, we're getting older and we're getting
Yeah.
set in our ways. I like my
Yeah.
big screen, all right. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if you've turned up the font like huge, but like I remember the first time I ever saw someone in a restaurant, like someone that was, significantly older than me. This was years ago, like in Los Angeles. And I remember kind of, oh God, those days seem still kind of far off to
Yeah.
where I'm going to have to up the font. But I think those days are here, Sirlane.
I don't know if I told y'all this was not a exciting thing that I did, but recently went to the optometrist, to get my eyes checked. And I wear contacts and I have readers and, et cetera, et cetera. And the optometrist was like, we went through a variety of little tests and he was like, yeah, I think we can bump up your lens prescription a little bit. Seems like you're struggling unnecessarily with the, with the script, as they say, that you have now. And then, so I ordered that online. It came in the mail, but I still had some of my previous prescription.
Yep. Hmm.
So I was sort of like, well, I'm not gonna like open prematurely. I'll like use up the lenses
Yeah.
that like have served me fine this whole time. Just
Totally.
maybe, are waning a little bit
Uh-huh.
as far as efficacy. And yesterday, I don't know, I had like a really just I was at the computer, just intense day. Just one of those days where you're just like, I hope I get through this alive. And I was straining, like my eyes were straining. And I
Uh-huh.
know it was because I was stressed. So that was a
Yeah.
big part of it. But today I was like, F it. Let's open the box.
Hmm.
New contacts. I don't care if I have 2 weeks left on these other ones. Into the trash you go. And Heather, it's a brand new world. I
Yeah.
usually, not on my phone, I've never increased anything on my phone, but on any like desktop, I always increase the font to 125%. Like if I'm looking at a
Yeah.
spreadsheet or, anything with a lot of text, I have to, or I can't really see it that well, or I'm straining. And now with the new prescription, I didn't even do that today. I was just like, I'm chilling.
Nice. It's funny. I completely relate to this because I just had a similar experience having to bump mine up. And I still have some old that are, I mean, it's a small bump, but it does make a difference. But the problem that I'm having with it is once you bump it up, then I have to wear readers more because I'm bumping up the distance, but then the close up is worse. So you kind of pay for I
Yeah,
sometimes like wearing my old contacts so that I don't have to worry so much about reading up close.
there is definitely something to the once you get to like the perfect, like, okay, yeah, I can see everything's
Uh-huh.
good. I'm good distance, I'm good close up. I don't have to like futz around with like various like contact lenses, AK or and glasses as well. But when you don't have any of that stuff in, I mean, I have never been blinder than a bat than I am now. I mean, to
Yeah.
the point, like when I take I remember you used to tell me, like, I don't like how blind I am if I don't
Yeah.
have help. Like, I can't
Yeah, it
just
makes me
like
vulnerable.
navigate through the world just without some sort of help. And it was like, I never had eye problems. So I was like, yeah, that would suck, I guess.
No, it's never going to be perfect either
Never
because
gonna be
especially
perfect.
now
No, it's
now
always
until
it's
the
always a
end, it's going
little,
to
yeah,
be a little off.
it's a little, yeah, a Libra
Yeah, and
scale.
they say you could get like progressives or whatever, but like those aren't perfect either. Like
I hate
they're no matter
progressives.
what you do, yeah, like you're not going to have this perfect easy when your eyes are weak on both ends, distance and close up, you're never going to have perfection because you're going to have to correct for both and it's just very convoluted. I hate it. I wish I could go back to I remember the day that I got contact lenses. I was like, I was driving on a road called Keto Road. I probably mentioned this in an early podcast.
I remember the
And
story. Hmm.
yeah, and I could see all the leaves on all the trees. This road was had beautiful like eucalyptus and stuff. And I had my contacts in and I remember because I couldn't see people on the far end of the soccer field. That was part of why or what made me realize I needed to get them. But that was easy back then. I mean, you think it wasn't back then, but then you come to now and you're like, it's way more complicated.
Yeah,
There is no magic bullet, is my point. If only there were
I know.
for all the things,
I
Sarah, that
know.
would be great.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine who you know as well, who is a glasses wearer. He always
Yeah.
has had glasses as long as I've known him, I think. And he said, well, because he and his wife like to go skiing in Tahoe. And he says, well, when I ski, I put my contacts in because like I can't have glasses and then goggles or just sort of like
Yeah.
the snow in general, like it's too much.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
and but then as soon as I'm done, I take them right out. And I was like, it's not easier to just have contacts? And he's like, nope, hate them. I want my
Yeah.
glasses. That's what I want. And I am the exact opposite. Like, glasses are fine. I mean, in the morning, at night, here and there, I will need them if I'm not wearing
Yeah.
contacts. But I don't want to wear things on my face.
I don't either. I'm the same, even though I have so many glasses. I have like, I try to have readers. I have like 4 readers. I have sunglasses, way more sunglasses than I need, but that's a bit of a fashion thing. And
Yeah.
then I have like my contacts. So it's kind of like, okay, so if I'm wearing my contacts today, okay, I got to bring a pair of regular sunglasses. But if I'm wearing my glasses, I bring it's just, it gets so complicated. I need like a shelf by the front door of like all my glasses, like what am I taking today?
I know.
It's pretty silly. I don't know.
I
I
sometimes
just could
just
just jump off the cliff.
I chuck yeah, like just jump off the
I've got a
fucking
cliff
cliff.
right here. I could just jump off it.
Just yeah,
End all
just
my worries.
oh, I sometimes I chuckle about this because it's like this is like legit stuff I think about now. Like I have to
Oh
go
yeah.
to my eye appointment. I have to see, what the results are. I have to then, figure out what I buy in order to see.
Yeah.
And I just never thought about that once upon a time. So thank you, aging. You're the best.
You are the best. Yeah. I think for me, and I'd like to know from y'all out there, for me, when I get a little down about these kinds of things, I I feel like I have some pretty good methods to cheer myself up or talk myself off the ledge.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like talking to friends or, you know, watching something funny always does it for me. But like the other day, I was kind of like riddled with too many WTF like moments and The Rock and everything that I was like, I gotta just like, I'm gonna listen to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, which is a news quiz show on NPR that's very funny.
Oh, every
They have
weekend. I
comedians
never miss
and
it.
oh, it's the best. I mean, I'm telling you, that is like good medicine for when you're just feeling out of sorts. And I'll go on a walk, listen to that, and it really works. It's like doesn't solve all my problems, but it works in the moment. And I'd like to know from y'all out there, how do you kind of, I don't know, chill? Like what are your methods of like, you know what, I gotta just like get out of the house, go on a drive, listen to, yeah, maybe there's a podcast that you guys love out there that cheers you up. Maybe it's our podcast. Have such a good day after all. Let us know. Email us at hi@havessuchagoodday.com.
I would love it if that were the case.
All comes full circle, Sarah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, why else are Heather and I here but to cheer you
Exactly.
up? All right. So buck up, kids.
Buck up campers. Yeah.
But truly, we love all the feedback that you give us, and sometimes we think we're going to get some feedback over a certain topic, and we don't really get any. So if you're one of those people who's like, what do they really care what I have to say? Please
We
do send
care.
us an
We
email.
care. Oh my God. We got a
Yeah,
great email from Gabby, Sarah Lane.
we
I thought
did.
this was very amusing. She's referring to last week's episode about email signatures that I was talking about. And she says, hi, guys. My go to email signatures are cheers, thanks so much, and occasionally best. Cheers, Gabby.
Oh,
That was
Gabby.
very cute.
And this is we both Heather and I were like, what is best anyway? In our previous episode, like, I mean, it's not rude, but it's like, what is that? It's
I
not
mean,
even a
wishing someone the
sentence.
best,
Doesn't make
or
like best
are you the best?
wishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, hope for the best. Like, what
Yeah.
what is that?
Uh,
Gabby, I also have to say, thanks so much is very passive aggressive, and I love it. And I also use that sometimes.
but do you use it as like you're genuine or passive aggressive is the question.
I don't know. I haven't done that in a
The
while.
next time you do that to me, I'm going
But
to be
like
questioning.
a thanks comma, I feel like is, that's perfectly professional. Thanks
Yeah.
exclamation is like, I kind of know you, to the point like where
I'm
like
guilty
I
of
can
that
like add
sometimes.
a little flair.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, comma is like, yeah, fuck you.
I love it. Gabby, what do you think about that? We'd love to hear from you and everyone out there, please. And by the way, I did do a quick Google search and I found out that vintage Chia Pet head
Oh yeah.
from the 1960s, y'all. They call it Smiling Jim, and he's very creepy. And
Is it
I'm
a
going to
real?
send you a picture.
What?
Yeah. In fact,
Psh,
I'll just
mind
send
blown.
you this link because, and then I'll send you a picture of what we have downstairs. But it's creepy. It's like sitting up on the shelf. He's got these ears that stick out. He looks like a
Oh.
vintage dude. He's got kind of a vintage looking face. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Would not know who that is. That's the original Chia Pet. How
I
about
guess
that?
so.
Now, if
Yeah.
anyone's sitting around going, I wonder what they're looking at. Yeah, look that up. Cause it's a lot.
Smiling Jim,
Apparently, there's a
vintage Chia
second
Pet.
market on
Google
Poshmark
it.
for Chia Pets.
Oh yeah, and
So,
eBay.
so
Go down that
yeah,
rabbit hole.
good stuff. Good
Good
stuff.
stuff, Sarah.
Well, Heather Frank, I think we're going to put a fork in this one because we are done. This has been a wonderful episode, as always, episode 206 in the can.
And we'd like to always remind you every episode about becoming a patron because your patronage keeps the lights on around here, and we want to grow a group. That's just the honest truth here, isn't it, Sarah?
100%, 1,000%, 1,500%. Okay, I could go on. Yeah, we try not to like plug this too much, but just so everybody knows, if you're already a patron, you already know this, so you can pass out for the next 10 seconds. But if you're not, we always offer the show for free. We will continue to do that, but your direct patronage, for those of you who support us directly, really does help us keep the lights on. No joke. No bones
It
about
does take
that.
a little work to make this show go on every week, and we're just two little ladies.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate your support, and spread the good word.
Really do. Yeah,
Spread the good word.
Spread the
about
word.
Episode 2.
Yeah, you got someone who might say, these people are a couple of eggheads.
Egghead. Talk about a
Send them
vintage
our way.
term.
Whatever.
I love it.
I don't even know why I said that.
Chuckleheads.
It's because I had like hard-boiled eggs for lunch anyway.
So did
Long story.
I.
Did you? My God.
How is that a long story? Don't tell it. Don't tell it. All right, y'all. Until next week, peace and love. Stay sexy, and I'll stay Heather.
Best, Sarah.
Have such a good day.
Have such a good day.
Cheers.